Hey everyone, my name is Donna Taves, and I was invited here today to share with you a bit about my journey with doTERRA and why I fell in love with the products that I did. And I just want to hopefully share with you a journey where these products are really good for our everyday health, but they can also be really amazing for some really serious issues that we can come up against. And so my journey started with doTERRA with about 15 months beforehand, when my 6-year-old son was really sick. I'm a mom of 3, and he was my middle child. And he all of a sudden came down with an autoimmune disease called Henoch-Schönlein purpura. And crazy name for basically what is an immune system confused and attacks the small blood vessels of the body. And so there was a lot of swelling, bruising from basically at that point in the beginning from his waist down. And he wasn't able to walk, really a lot of pain in that time. We brought him into the ER, and they told me that it was this very rare autoimmune disease that affects certain kids, and my kid happens to be one of them. In even more rarer circumstances, it can attack the kidney, and of course my son, his kidneys were both swollen and inflamed, and he was spilling blood and protein. Every time that he went to the bathroom, you would see blood, and it was a really scary thing for him to see, and especially for me as a mom to see that, because I didn't know what was happening, and they assured me that this should go away within a few weeks, and it didn't for him. And so we ended up in the hospital, and they recommended a drug to him, and it was an experimental drug, so much so that even the pharmacist had to call up to the doctor to say, "Are you sure this is for a 6-year-old? Because I'm not sure." And it was the top nephrologist in the hospital who had prescribed it. And so when the nephrologist is a kidney specialist, and so when the pharmacist heard him repeat that, yeah, this is for him, the pharmacist went ahead and filled this prescription. And I remember just thinking in my head, like, this can't be. And I asked the nephrologist, how long does he have to be on this? And the answer was that he would have had to be on it for life. And as a mom who had a sick firstborn son, that's a whole other story, but and was able to recover him, I knew that although our doctors are brilliant, they just don't know everything. And so I took my son home, and I ended up doing much more research and found someone who I trusted. He was a brilliant naturopath from the US, and I had heard him speak and shared with him my story. And he said, "Look, I want you to send all of his lab work to me, and I will look at it with my team, and we'll get back to you and see what we can do for this little guy." And I was so grateful to have him come back and say 4 things. And one of them was some nutrients that he was deficient in. Another one was some biochemical balancing, long story on that one. There was another one, I can't remember offhand now, but the 4th one, which took me off guard, was essential oils. And I remember thinking, what? This is serious, like essential oils. And what was more confusing for me is that he asked me to put it in a diffuser. And a diffuser, if you don't know, kind of, some of the ones they have out on the market kind of lights up and kind of looks like there's like smoke coming out of it. And I remember thinking, like, this is ludicrous. This is like hokey, new age nonsense stuff. And so, but, I trusted him. And the one thing that he told me, he didn't recommend doTERRA or any other brand. He just said, just make sure the oils that you use for him are pure. And when I say pure, I mean pure. And what I thought then was, okay, pure. You don't go to Walmart to buy pure oils, I guess. So I'm going to go to the health food store, because the health food store has pure oils, right? Right? And so I thought, and I brought those oils home and I did everything that I was told to do. Oh, the third one, long story short from there, I remember now, it was a raw food diet. And we just started using everything that he had taught us. When I used these essential oils for weeks, nothing changed. He was still spilling blood and protein. I was taking him into the pediatrician and getting his blood lab checked, and told them I wanted to try some things that are natural before I got into the medication that they knew was recommended to me. But that did nothing. And so I dismissed essential oils altogether. And the reason why I share with people about essential oils is because I don't want people to do what I did, which is when these impure oils don't work for us, we dismiss them altogether because we hear all of these great things. And so we go and get these oils that may be less expensive or more convenient at the grocery store or whatever, and we're just there, and so we pick them up and we take them home, and it doesn't do the things that we keep hearing about. And so I totally dismissed them for another 15 months. So what I did was everything else that I was told by this naturopath, and I remember, the proteins going down to 0 and the blood maybe went down to 1, but it never ever stabilized. His kidneys were completely inflamed for all that time. And of course the doctor was concerned and I was concerned. Am I doing the right thing? Because we get scared not listening to the doctors, don't we? Yeah. So I then got invited to a class, a doTERRA class, and I was assured that it was about education and that, at the end, of course, they're going to see if I wanted to purchase any, which didn't bother me, but I didn't really want the whole class to be something that I was going to be sold to. And that's not what these classes were about. And I was so excited when I got there to learn more about essential oils than I'd ever known about before. And I was a health coach, so I knew natural medicine, and I knew a little bit about everything in that regard, but I didn't know what I come to know about essential oils from that one class. And I took those oils home and I did what the naturopath shared with me. And you guys, 4 days later, after trying everything that I knew to try for this little guy, 4 days after using doTERRA's oils, there was not one trace of blood, not one trace of protein. From there on out, my little guy is now 12 years old, and he has no signs of Henoch-Schönlein purpura or any of that autoimmune disease. I hear kids, I'm on these blogs with lots of other parents who have these kids from around the world, and they're struggling. And yet here I am, thanks to doTERRA, where I no longer struggle, where I'm no longer afraid. As a parent, I have something so powerful in my hands that I can use with my kids. And you don't know the freedom that has for me. So I hope that that this inspires you to keep using these oils and know and trust that if one doesn't work, go to another. If one oil of doTERRA's doesn't work, go to another oil, because we'll find the right one for you. So thanks for hearing my story. I appreciate it. If you have any questions or concerns, I'll try to visit the group and answer any questions that you might have. But thank you, Renee, for inviting me to share. Thank you, Josh, for inviting me to share. And I really look forward to hearing from any of you. So take care. Bye.